这个现在因为有那么多人不知道，
And now, because so many people don't seem to know,
我就给你们讲一讲这个佛。
so I'll tell you about Buddha.
佛呀是半梵语，
The word Buddha or Hua in Chinese is half Sanskrit.
印度的话，印度的话叫不达也。
Sanskrit is a language of India, and the entire word transliterated into Chinese is Buddhaya. It is half Sanskrit.
印度的话，印度的话叫不达也。
Sanskrit is a language of India, and the entire word transliterated into Chinese is Buddhaya, or Buddhaya.
不达也，那么翻译成中文呢，又叫佛陀也。
or Fortoye.
那么在正式翻译过中文叫什么呢？就叫一个教者。
And if that Sanskrit, if Buddhaya is translated into Chinese, then it would be one who is awakened or enlightened.
这个教就是觉悟了，
Enlightenment.
就是明白了，
It means understanding.
就是一个有大智慧者。
It also means someone with great wisdom.
你有大智慧，你就是佛；
If you have great wisdom, then you are Buddha.
他有大智慧，他就是佛；
If he or she has great wisdom, then he or she is a Buddha.
我有大智慧，我就是佛。
If I have great wisdom, then I am a Buddha.
所以头先我说我很糊涂的，
I said just now that I was very muddled.
没有成佛，就因为糊涂。
And the reason I haven't become a Buddha is because I'm muddled.
要明白了就是佛。
And were I to understand, that would be Buddhahood.
这个明白要真明白，
But in understanding, we have to truly understand.
要不是说凉水冲茶，硬冲说我。
It's not to say that we can use cold water to steep tea and force it to steep.
对了，你要是真明白了，
You can't force it and say, I understand. If you really understand,
别说你明白。
then you wouldn't say you understood.
好像头前这个陈居士问说一切皆空，为什么还要修呢？
Just like now, Mr. Chun asked, well, since everything's empty, why do we have to cultivate?
我说你要真空了，为什么你还要问呢？
I said, if you were truly empty, why would you need to ask?
因为你没有空，所以你才要问。
It's just because you're not empty that you feel you have to ask.
那么你要是真觉了，也就不会觉得呀，比众生聪明。
And by the same token, if you're truly awakened, you won't have the feeling that you are smarter than other living beings.
和众生是一样的。
You will feel you are the same as living beings.
我说，一切众生皆有佛性。
So the Buddha said, all living beings have the Buddha nature.
皆堪作佛。
All can become Buddhas.
所以我主张的佛教，
So the Buddhism, which I advocate,
我这个佛教不是印度的佛教，
my Buddhism is not from India,
不是中国的佛教，
nor from China,
是暹罗缅甸的佛教，
nor from Burma or Ceylon,
伊朗的佛教，不是日本韩国的佛教，
nor from Japan or Korea,
也不是这个高棉越南佛教不是每一个
nor is it from Vietnam.
私有的。
Buddhism is
佛教是公有的。
Buddhism isn't exclusively owned by anyone. Buddhism is public.
是尽虚空遍法界的佛教，所以
Buddhism pervades throughout empty space and the Dharma realm.
不可以令它有一个国际的分别。
And so we cannot have nationalistic discriminations within Buddhism.
不可以令它有一个人我的分别。
And we cannot have discriminations of self and others within Buddhism.
不可以令它有一个种族的分别。
We cannot have discriminations of caste or clan or family within Buddhism.
佛教是包罗万有的，
Because Buddhism contains all the myriad things.
空遍法界，无论你信佛，我也承认你是佛教徒。
From throughout empty space in the Dharma realm, it doesn't matter if you believe in the Buddha, I acknowledge you as a Buddhist.
不相信佛，我还承认你是佛教徒。
If you don't believe in the Buddha, I still acknowledge you as a Buddhist.
信不信，那是暂时间的问题。
Because whether you believe or not is only a temporary matter.
将来你一定会信的。
If you do not believe now, in the future you certainly will believe.
不信，来生信，来生不信，再来生。
You don't believe this life, then you'll believe next life. You don't believe next life, then you'll believe the life after that.
这一个时候不信，那个时候你又信了。
If you don't believe at this time, then at that time you will believe.
因为人呢，你不能保证你不改变的。
Because nobody can guarantee that they won't change.
你今生一生的经过今天呢就欢喜吃甜的。
And so you go through your whole life and you'll notice today you like to eat sweet things.
今天又欢喜吃酸的。
But tomorrow you want sour.
今天又改变欢喜吃辣的了。
And then the next day you change again and you want hot.
后天要吃一点咸的。
The following day you'd like something a little salty.
等这个都吃完了，又想吃一点苦的。
And after you've eaten all of those, then you think you'd like something a little bitter.
谁叫你这样子的？
Who told you to be that way?
你自己愿意这样子。
It's you who want to be that way.
那么信佛也是这样子。
Believing in the Buddha is also like that.
信佛呀，慢慢你就改变了，你就信佛了。
Believing in the Buddha, gradually you change until you come to have faith.
那么无论你是天主教、耶稣教、犹太教，是
Doesn't matter whether you are a Catholic or a Protestant, a Jew, you believe in Judaism,
教天上的教、地下的教，
the heavenly teachings or the earthly teachings,
天的教，
or the human teachings.
我把你包括到佛教里，
All of those belong within Buddhism.
不了为什么呢？你跑不出法界外边去
You can't get out. You can't escape. Why? Because you can't get out of the Dharma realm.
佛教是尽虚空遍法界的，你往哪一个地方跑啊？
Since Buddhism pervades to the ends of empty space and throughout the Dharma realm, where are you going to run to?
跑到法界外边去，你
You're going to be able to run out of the Dharma realm?
会有那么大的神通哦。
I don't believe your spiritual penetrations are that great.
佛告诉我们说，一切众生皆有佛性，皆堪作佛。
The Buddha told us that all living beings have the Buddha nature. All can become Buddhas.
他没有说一切众生皆无性，皆无佛性，皆不可以做佛。
He did not say all living beings do not have the Buddha nature and cannot become Buddhas.
只有我释迦牟尼佛才可以成佛。
Only I, Shakyamuni Buddha, can be a Buddha.
我是一个独裁者，
I am a dictator.
我是一个专利品。
I am autonomous.
所以他说，哪一个众生要修行？
He didn't say that. So, he said any living being who cultivates
一成佛的。
can become a Buddha.
那么你我他，乃至于一切呀，这个蚊虫蚂蚁、蜜蜂子，都是众生之一。
So, you and I and they and mosquitoes and ants and bees, they all are classed as living beings.
都有成佛的机会。
So we all have the opportunity to become Buddhas.
除非你说啊，我不愿意成佛，
Unless you say, I don't want to become a Buddha.
我不是众生。
I'm not a living being.
你无论你是神父、牧师啊，
It doesn't matter whether you are a priest or a minister
是什么传教士啊，
or any other person who is transmitting a religion,
你都是众生之一。
you still are among living beings.
你不能自己给自己勉强起一个名字，说我不是众生，我是老天爷。
You cannot force the issue and say, I am not a living being. I am God.
那个老天爷只有一个，
Because there's only one God.
老天爷还是众生。
And yet, even that God is a living being.
你怎么能跑得了？
So, who can escape?
好，我最后啊，给你们讲一个笑话。
And now, the last thing I'd like to do is tell you a joke.
你们笑不笑啊？那我不管。
I'm not going to care whether you laugh or not,
不过我欢喜你们笑一笑。
but I'd like it if you laughed.
什么呢？这美国人呢，没有裤，美国的和尚没有裤子穿。
I'm going to tell you about an American monk who didn't have any pants to wear.
你们想一想，这个是怎么一回事？
And you can think about what this means.
美国的和尚不穿裤子，
An American monk with no pants to wear.
什么道理呢？
What does this mean?
是啊，在前几年然后这有两个美国的和尚呢，法院要3步1拜。
Just recently, we had 2 American monks who made the vow they wanted to bow once every 3 steps.
到西雅图马布芒的，
They wanted to bow to Seattle, to Marble Mount.
3步1拜啊，他一开始的时候啊，什么也没有计划。
Now, when they started their 3 steps, 1 bow pilgrimage, they didn't have a plan.
所以呀，这个就是这个美国和尚就没有裤子穿。
And this monk here, this American, ended up with no pants to wear.
这个怎么样没有裤子穿呢？
And how did that happen?
预备啊，所以穿一个破裤子。
He hadn't really prepared, so he had on a pair of tattered pants.
就穿个破裤子啊。
He was a cultivator, so he just wore tattered pants.
跟着那个比他高一点，他们那个叫大巨。
And he followed the one who was a little taller, who was called Big Jew.
这个叫小游，
And the other one, this one, is called Little Yo,
因为他比他小。
because he was shorter.
游那个高很高的，就叫大巨。我叫他叫大笨象。
Now the big one, I called him Elephant.
那个 这个呢，这个小的我叫它叫小猴子。你看这个师傅啊，给这个徒弟一些个花名。
And the little one, I call him Jiaozi.
那么他们呢也没有准备呀。
You see, this teacher, he nicknames his disciples.
就出去拜呀，拜了大约是几个礼拜吧。
So they hadn't made any preparations, and they just set out bowing. They bowed for several weeks.
啊，这个大具呢，就到这个天然的厕所去。
And one day, Big Ju went off to the natural bathroom.
天然的厕所就是荒地，厕所也没。
It means he went off into the woods. And he didn't have any toilet paper.
大家也是不认识，就用一种那个有毒的叶子。
And probably he wasn't familiar with the woods, so he used a poisonous leaf
来做手指。
as his tissue.
这样一来怎么样啊？把这个肛门呢，大约就肿得有这么大。
So then he got poisoned and infected and swollen.
也不能拜了。
And it was hard for him to bow.
这就打电话给回去金山寺。
So they called back to Gold Mountain.
求救了。
And asked to be rescued.
好，不要紧，我去看看你。
I said, never mind, I'll come and see you.
那看看呢，他这个肛门又小了。
And by the time I got there, already his swelling had gone down.
没有事情了。
And it disappeared then, no problem.
一个问题解决了。
So the first problem was solved.
也就回去了，又过了一个时期。
So I fixed their problem, then I went back, and a little more time passed.
这一位这个和尚就把裤子拜的都拜坏了。
And then this monk totally wrecked his pants bowing.
这个裤子啊，就像那个网似的。
The pants became sort of like a fishnet.
都通笼了。
Lots of holes in them.
玲珑透体，甚至于都断了，没有。
And then they finally just wouldn't stay up anymore. Completely useless.
你说这个美国虽然自由的国家。
Now, although America is a free country,
你要在那个马路上不穿裤子，这一定是犯法的，警察一定是拉的。
But if you were to go without your pants along the roadside, I'm sure that would be in violation of the law, and the police would pick you up.
警察啦，那么他就对这个大具就讲。
So he said to Big Ju,
我这个裤子没有了。
I haven't got any pants.
这个不能拜了。
I can't bow.
呢
？What shall we do?
你看，这要在那个脱衣舞的那个跳舞厅啊，谁不穿裤子也不出席的。
Now, of course, in a burlesque theater, whoever doesn't wear pants, there's nothing unusual about that.
因为那个地方都是那样子。
Because everybody's that way there.
在马路上就不行的。
But when you're out on the road, you can't be that way.
那么尤其是一个和尚。
Especially a monk.
要是不穿裤子，这个一定拿去放到监狱。
A monk not wearing pants would be put in jail, for sure.
那么他这样情形呢，就不能拜了。
So, in this circumstance, he couldn't bow.
正在这个紧要的关头。
And right at that really crucial moment,
我那个十字路口一看呢，
they came to a crossroad, and when they took a look,
有一个东西在那里。
There was something laying in the road.
一拿来一看，这是一条裤子。
And when they picked it up, it was a pair of pants.
这一条裤子呢，穿的也不大也不小。
And when he put them on, they weren't too big and they weren't too little.
这个尺寸也正好。
The size was just right.
矮矮的，有剪这么一条裤子。
They weren't too long either. So here he was, and he'd found himself a pair of pants.
结果和尚没有裤子的一个公案。
And this is the story of the American who didn't have any pants to wear.
各位今天大约是头一次听见。
Probably this is the first time you've heard this story.